Devil Wears Prada, 2006, Anne Hathaway and Meryl Streep, and the really bad connection between integrity and self-esteem. I'm Attila, your host, and you're listening to Movie Prosecutioners. Let's go. Okay, The Devil Wears Prada. The Devil Wears Prada was for me a movie I watched like a long time ago, and it wasn't like this kind of crazy interesting experience for me. I was just, okay, this is like an ugly boss, and there's like a recent graduate. I didn't even know what that means back in the time, so I hadn't have a strong connection to this movie. Now that I actually experienced what happened in this movie, I'm a little bit more sensitive for the subject. So what is happening in this movie? This movie is about a recent graduate who is kind of searching for a job and does not really have a lot of opportunities. Even though she's coming from a really good university, the Northwestern, she's kind of searching for her place in the world and what she wants to do. And especially she's searching for a job right now that has some kind of connection to what she did before. So instead, like, she did a journalism graduation, and instead of going to like one of these investigative journalism brands, companies that she knows, she's going to a fashion magazine because this is like the only ones that gave her an interview. And she's instantly hired because she's kind of, she's not really the type of girl for these institutions. She's not the extremely fashionable and like surface level person that normally you are required to be to actually be accepted for these kind of jobs. But her boss wants to do an experiment. She let go of a lot of people. She did layoffs from like other assistants that were more normally be part of her team. And so the boss is trying something new and hiring Andie, the character played by Anne Hathaway. And it's like, why did I say we're going to talk about integrity? Here we have someone who loves journalism, like the journalism where you like think a lot before you write, where you investigate a lot before you write, and where you really think about what is like an interesting story. And the fashion magazine is a completely different place. You look at fashion, you look at what is like interesting right now, and you're listening to your boss. The boss of Anne Hathaway is played by Meryl Streep, an incredible actress, and this is like one of her best performances, I would say. And she is actually nailing this kind of boss. So like she's nailing it. Like this boss is like demanding the incredible. The boss has a gigantic expertise, but it's also like the absolute devil. That's where I guess that's where the name is coming from. The Devil Wears Prada. And so this kind of boss is making demands like so crazy. Like one time she demands actually that Andie goes for the unpublished scripts of a Harry Potter book. And I think a nuclear bomb would be more easily attainable than a new Harry Potter book unpublished scripts. So this is kind of the level that Andie has to work on. And it's really interesting because she, at the beginning, she doesn't like it. She doesn't like it at all. She feels like she's not at her place. She's not good at what she does. And therefore, she's not feeling well. But she starts to adapt. She starts to adapt very hard, like to the incredible demands that are changing all the time. She starts to adapt to like the way her boss wants her to look. And so time after time, like after a few after 30-40 minutes, she starts to actually excel in the kind of job. But the job is different. The job is being an operative. Like before, like what she was like a thinker, and now she's a doer. And there's a form of transformation in her that before she was like kind of this critical to consumerism kind of girl, and now she's like the like the perfect example of a consumer girl who gets like a lot of stuff that is very expensive, that she doesn't really need, that she gives away and stuff like that. And this is a shift in character. This is a shift in values. And therefore, and that's why I wanted to talk about integrity, because integrity means that you know where you're coming from, you know where you go to, and you know which values you have, and these are all fits. So even if you change your values, you know why they changed, and you're like accepting this at this point. You're like, okay, before that I was misogynic, I was hating women, and now I made an experience where I know, okay, that's why women have an equal place in society, and that's why this should continue, and now I have a different value. And I have seen what values before I had, which values I now have, and I'm good with that, because I see this is more like this is a good shift. And this is actually what is not happening with Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway starts to like what she's doing. She likes to get the validation from her boss. She likes to get the validation from people that look at her and see a very like fancy looking bright woman. And she loves this kind of image that she's now having. But she's not really accepting that these became her values. Looking good, performing very hard, finding solutions for certain problems, and not doing the work with her own head. She's starting to get a hands-on mentality. And this is not what she was before, and her kind of fluidity of like values that that we all had at one point in our life, where we didn't know how to go further and which kind of influence we should accept. These kind of values that she has there, she's not accepting by herself. And if she would take a minute and reflect on herself, because she has no minute, but if she would take this minute, she would see that she's not liking which kind of person she is becoming, or that she became. And this is like, now spoilers alert, she is actually at the end confronted by her boss, who says like, I see so much of myself in you. And then she's like, no, I'm nothing like Lou. I would never do this kind of thing to one of my employees. I would never do this to one of my friends. And then she said, yeah, but you already did that. And then Andie starts to reflecting. Then Andie gets back to what she actually thinks and what she actually believes. And this is kind of a beautiful moment, a strong moment, where she's actually getting free from all this work, getting free from her boss Miranda, and kind of take the opportunity to do what she really wants to do, and not just do something so that she gets the validation of her boss. And this is also a very difficult part of being or having integrity. Like, you feel self-esteem when you have integrity, and you feel self-esteem as well if you get validation for what you're good at. And obviously Andie was getting validation for something that was not part of her values, but it was also something where she could better and better in it, and she started to like it. So obviously I already gave this answer. Your values that you accept having, you should, like, the values that you start to have, you should accept them and you think of them as good values. Looking good in a like fashionable way, if this is part of your values and you actually like that and you think excel in that is exactly what I want to do, then this change in value for Andie should have been great. But she's not really accepting that. She's not saying that this is great for her, but she feels it. And the integrity part comes in it is like, this connection between what is self-esteem, what is validation, and what is integrity. And the problem is you get self-esteem as the ultimate result out of integrity and validation from others. And so it sometimes will be hard to identify the moment where you actually skip your values for something where you get validation for something else, because as the ultimate goal of both of them, or not the ultimate goal, but a result of both of them is self-esteem, you get conflicted as soon as you have self-esteem because of something that is actually a new or a value that you not accept. A new value or a new value that you don't accept. Yeah, you know what I mean. In general, this movie, as I said, had kind of a personal effect on me, because I also did that before. Like, I got into a job where I was like not really loving what I was doing, because I needed a job to pay my bills, and it was like shortly after my bachelor, and I was like, okay, somehow I need to get somewhere. And so I kind of got into something where I had to talk a lot, and I love talking, but I like it if I prepare myself a little bit, and if I know what I'm doing, and I know where I want to go to. And this is actually something I think that's very close to integrity. But I did this job for half a year, and I'm happy that I did it, but I'm also very happy that I didn't stay. And so I'm more happy where I am right now. I mean, happiness is always a difficult question, but I guess I'm more happy than I was back then. And and I think also Andie at the end of the movie is very much more happy with where she is right now than she was when she was doing the job. So what I get out of this is that integrity makes you happy if you can live that way, and you have to always search for a life that gives you like the inner validation from yourself, and that fits to your values, and that fits for the mood of life that you choose for yourself. There are a lot of critical parts of The Devil Wears Prada, why I think like it says like a 7 out of 10 on IMDb, and I think most of it, and here's now a critical part about the movie in general, most of it is because of the interaction between the characters. A lot of these kind of conversation that the friends of Andie have with Andie about what she does are kind of a little bit toxic. So they're like, I know who you are, and I know who you have been, and you change, and I don't like that, and you should be the one person I want you to be. And this is kind of scary. It's not like a very nice, friendly conversation, and there should be more support. So I think like Andie has not really like a really good circle of friends, which I didn't like, and the way they wrote them and make her realize that she's doing something different is like they're very selfish and not good written. So I don't like that about this movie. Actually, I wanted to criticize that, because I think that's why this movie is just a 7 out of 10. If they would have done more work in like the dialogues, I think that would have changed this movie, like that would have made this movie even greater. Because what is great about this movie is like the acting of Anne Hathaway and the acting of Meryl Streep. It's like fantastic, and it really draws you in. And at the same time, it's like really great to see like this transition from Andie, and the way like she realized this is not what she wants to be. And yeah, there's like, this is a beautiful movie. Please watch it if you ever had this experience before. I think this could be a great moment for you to realize, okay, what you want to do in your life and how you want to do in your life. And therefore, that's it from me. I hope you had a great time, as I had, and you're tuning in next time. So until then, bye.